Greetings, and thank you for joining us for the 42nd episode of DC Animation with Spenser and Friends. This is an LMG Podcast Production. Today, I'm joined by a dear friend.
Yes, sir. I am back to speak about one of my favorite characters.
Indeed, Brandon is joining us today. Brandon, you've been here before. The people already should know who you are. I will say you were on my very first episode of this podcast, and I needed you on this episode because it is the first time reviewing a showcase.
Yes, sir. It was very interesting. I enjoyed the format. It was definitely as a comics guy, it was kind of nice to see comics kind of featured a little bit here. So yeah, happy to be here.
Yes, and so with a showcase, it is multiple short films. So we have films that are, between 15 and 25 minutes, that are kind of packaged into one film. And so if you sometimes the showcases will be shorts that are included with other longer films. Kind of like how Pixar will have like a little Pixar short before the big
Hmm.
movie.
Yeah.
It's very similar in format, and then sometimes the showcases will just be packaged to be a collection of short films. And so that's what this is. If you have if you watched House of Mystery, or if you have House of Mystery, then you may have noticed that House of Mystery wasn't very long, but then it went to something completely different.
Yep.
And so, yeah. So, Brandon, just so the people know, could you tell us a little bit about your DC consumption, the DC that you take in, as far as, movies, video games, comic books, what do you do with the DC?
For sure. DC is, I mean, it's my top tier superhero franchise. I love Marvel, but DC is what I fell in love with first. Uh, my one of my favorite superheroes. My favorite superheroes are Superman and Captain America. So that should tell you a lot. Uh, and then to me, my favorite show ever is Justice League Unlimited. Justice League Unlimited. Both of those are amazing. We've talked about all the DC shows we've watched. And yeah, it just feels like a different experience, especially animated. Like just DC is just invested so much into their animated universe, unlike Marvel, to where it was just I felt like I was watching a movie for 12 episodes or whatever episodes, It was just that good. Like Young Justice, plenty of other shows, for example. So yeah, DC is my go-to. I read DC comics. I watch most of the movies, I will say, in the last couple of years, not as up to date, but before that, I watched all of the animated DC movies that came out. So I'm pretty tapped in.
And Brandon, that's why we're here. That's why you listen to
Yes,
me,
sir.
because
Yes, sir.
the DC animation, it is at the highest tier,
Hmm.
as far as entertainment media. It's so
Yeah.
good. I appreciate you for joining us on this journey through DC animation. Today's film is Constantine, The House of Mystery, released May 3rd, 2022. And this is our first showcase, so there will be multiple stories told. We will tell each story on its own. So, I will introduce the story in question, and then we're just going to talk about it.
Sure.
So, we open with the House of Mystery, and we open with the aftermath of the Apocalypse War. Constantine has Flash rewrite everything, and Constantine will use magic to make sure this version of events is cleaner. He is prepared to pay whatever the price may be for that. And after the title card, Constantine finds himself in the House of Mystery. His friends throw him a surprise birthday party, and he has a beautiful family and everything, but then everyone starts coughing and bleeding and dying, and then everyone turns into a demon and they attack Constantine. He enters a different room and finds that his friends are playing poker, and then they turn into demons and attack him. He enters a different room and finds Zatanna waiting for him in the bed. She turns into a demon and attacks him. Constantine casts a spell to remember how he got there. It turns out him changing the past resulted in the Spectre handing down his punishment of being stuck in the House of Mystery for all eternity. Constantine is eventually visited by demons that own his soul, and Constantine uses them to escape, but Spectre catches him. The Spectre explains that the House of Mystery is supposed to be a peaceful place, but Constantine's negativity is why it has been terrible. Since he kept doing his dirty Constantine tricks, the universe takes over the punishment. And that's the short.
Yes,
Brandon,
sir.
What do we think of the short?
Man, so it's funny. I've seen this before, very briefly. Like I was very. I think the first time I saw it, I did not like it. I'll be honest. I did not enjoy it. I guess I was expecting the previous universe, Constantine,
Yep.
like in a very different context. But rewatching it here today, I enjoyed it. Um, it was I actually enjoyed the new art style. It wasn't crazy different, but I enjoyed the new art style for the most part, and I just love the consistency and the whole like, damn, like my dude can't catch a break. Like, and no matter what he does, and he's getting tortured in the most like ruthless ways. Just you have kids now. Oh, okay, they're part of killing you. You know what I mean? You get Satana back. She's part of killing you. All your great friends, close ones, your loved ones are killing you, which like you talked about are basically he finds out is his own doing. But I enjoyed it. I thought it showed the power of Constantine, but also the world that Constantine plays in, like the magic world. It's, I mean, he only has so much. He can only do so much, control so much, and it showed how wide it is. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Okay. I'm glad you brought up the art style. Um, I think the problem is in comparison, I hate it.
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
I don't hate it on its own, but when compared to the DC animated movie universe art style, I did not like it at all. And they
Right.
made the mistake of showing me Constantine from both.
Yes.
Because for those of you who were not aware, the House of Mystery, again, as I said in the synopsis, immediately follows the Apocalypse War,
Hmm.
which is why we're talking about it today, because
Right.
it does not fall in order as far as the release, but it is this House of Mystery kind of acts as a so that you know what happened with the ending of the Apocalypse War, because John said, I'm prepared to deal with whatever the consequences may be for my meddling.
Yep.
And it's the first noble thing that I've ever done. And that speaks to kind of where we are
Yeah.
because with John Constantine, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Shout out to Matt Ryan. He's my only Constantine.
The goat.
Um, Constantine is a character who has done a lot of bad things, a lot of shady shit. And so his punishment is kind of fitting, like it makes sense for Constantine.
Yeah.
And you feel bad for Constantine, but you also have to think about all of the people that Constantine has destroyed in some form.
Right.
Brandon, you and I talked about a movie earlier in this series, Constantine City of Demons. And in that movie, we see that Constantine, playing with the dark arts, finds that his best friend is in a bad situation. And it's kind of because of Constantine. And then in the end, it's not all happy ending. Like there was some loss, some heavy loss,
Heavy.
uh, just because of Constantine's involvement. Like Constantine burns all of his bridges. He, destroys all of his relationships and friendships. In Justice League Dark, we see that he gives Richie magic cancer,
Yeah.
or he's the reason
Yep.
that Richie has magic cancer. So like John Constantine, he even the people around him, like he unfortunately had to watch Zatanna die
Yep.
in Apocalypse War, but in your opinion, did Constantine deserve what he got?
I hate to say it, because Constantine is one of my favorite characters, but yeah, I mean, he's usually messed some stuff up and then used some either mess some stuff up or he's just trying to clean something up that wasn't his fault, but in him trying to clean it up, he goes too far, or he meddled with something he shouldn't be. He doesn't let like the natural order of things happen. He always has to kind of think he can magic his way out of it. And so, yeah, there's consequences for that. And I love that there's actual consequences. We know in plenty of other superhero, just sci-fi stuff to where there's no consequences for any of these decisions. Like
Yeah.
you can just mess stuff up, and there's no natural order that's going to be like, nah, like you're messing up things, and now you got to pay for it. So, I like rules, and so when you break the rules, hey man, you got to like he knew what was coming. So I think you deserve it.
And I will say that's one of the things I love about Constantine is there are actual repercussions because, as we
Yeah.
said, whenever he's involved, there's some loss. It's not
Yep.
always clean and happy. There's some L's taken on all sides, and Constantine's whole thing is that he uses a lot of deception and a lot of loopholes,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of like bending the rules, making his way around stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, this is what happens because I think that for no other reason, he got what he deserved because he sold his soul 3 times.
I was just about to say loopholes. Yeah, that man sold his soul, but then did it 3 times. Like, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah. And we saw Nergal again.
yeah, I was like, why do I know him? And I was like, oh, snap. I guess I was used to the first version of him,
Beirut.
Beirut. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
I
creepy.
like Beirut,
I like
but
Beirut. Beirut was creepier. He was just funny. Yeah, I wish we would have kept Beirut the whole time, but still.
and
Um,
so yeah, you were on my review for Apocalypse War, so
yeah,
we all know what happened there. And Constantine is like, yeah, I'll rewrite it so that it's better, and I will take whatever punishment is bestowed upon me. And so he's in the House of Mystery, and yeah, like it's true torture. Like all of
yeah.
his loved ones are turning into demons and just eating him.
Hmm.
And so he gets out and finds the Spectre. And
Yeah,
the Spectre's like, "Hey, this is what it's gonna be.
right.
You meddled, and I told you, or you even said that you would accept whatever happens, and so this is what it is."
Yep.
And so of course, he sees himself having the conversation with Spectre because he cast a remembering spell.
Yeah, I really like
And
that scene.
and he said, and here's where I say some bullshit.
Right.
And
He knew
he,
he was gonna say something crazy.
yeah, and he did.
Yep.
And so, um, yeah, that happens. And then, he goes back for more stuff. There's more shenanigans, and he eventually just accepts, like, oh, now that I'm aware of it, it is what it is.
Yeah, he's just trying to fight off, trying not to make it the worst possible outcome, even though he knows what the outcome is gonna be.
Yeah.
You know?
And it gets ugly every single time. And then he uses the demon because he said eventually like time is broken here, so it's just it is what it's gonna be.
Right, right.
And eventually the demons come to get him to collect. And that's whenever he said, "Hey, announce this so that nobody else makes this mistake because I didn't know about it." Whenever he said it,
Oh,
I was like, that's really noble. And then I was immediately like, no, there's
yeah,
a
that's same.
there's some shit.
Yeah, I was like,
Because Constantine
uh,
doesn't just sit, no.
yeah, he doesn't care about other people's consequences. He doesn't care about other people following the rules. Yeah, that was purely, I was like, he has something up his sleeve. I don't
Yeah,
know
there's
what
some
that
trickery
means,
there.
but exactly, exactly. I did want to ask you though. All right, let's say you've been killed 300 times, but you open the door, there's a tenant's there. And she's in the bed, do you walk in still? Or do you go, she's gonna kill me, and you leave?
So I think that it's a situation where there's no way around dying.
Yeah.
So if I'm able to enjoy myself for any length of time,
Yeah.
I probably should.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I got to take the positives where I can because they're few and far between in here.
I mean, he might have got had a better time. He kept bringing up the kids, so that's kind of what
That was
forced him.
yeah,
Yeah, kind of
but
cut it short a little bit.
that's before he knew.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, I'm very much like if I'm gonna die anyway, then
Yeah,
I will do my best to enjoy the little things where
yeah,
I can. And so yeah, I'm gonna go in the room.
yeah. I, I I can see that. At first, I was like, bro, why not just leave? You know, these people are coming for you. But I guess it didn't matter. Probably
Yeah, it didn't
I mean,
matter.
they chased him out of the building, so I guess they would chase you out of the room too.
Yeah, like whenever he said, "Hey, I'm going to the bathroom,"
Yeah,
I
exactly.
in my head I was like, "Well, what door is that gonna be? Like, what's gonna be in there?" But it was just a
Yeah.
bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'd go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so after that, he eventually the demons eventually come to get him. Nergal shows up first, and Nergal is like, so I heard about your little situation, and I will be the one to torture you moving forward."
Yeah.
And then some other demons show up, and then he uses a little spell to, trap them and uses them getting there to get out. And then Spectre's like, see, I really tried.
You're right.
I really tried to shield you from the real punishment. It was supposed to be, you were supposed to be happy, John. It was supposed to be
It's-
peaceful, and you're supposed to live in an eternity of bliss, which is more than you deserve. And through your own negative emotions, that is how it was terrible for you. But it's out of my hand. It's above me now.
Bro, it reminded me. So I didn't really get in trouble in school much, but I did go to in school. One time I didn't go to, I got assigned detention and I just never went. So then I went to in school suspension, right? Everybody knows what that is. And so at first you're like, man, this sucks. Like, this is trash. But then there'd be that kid in there who's then acting up while in school suspension. And you're like, bro, like, and then he's thinking maybe this won't get any worse. And then it gets worse because then they give him some bigger punishment. And it felt like that. It felt like he thought, oh, it can't get any worse. You know what I mean? If I escape this place, I'm all good. But it's like, nah, bro, like it got 10 times worse.
Yeah,
You know
because
what
I'm
I
sure
mean?
he thought, yeah, I'll just float in here.
Yeah,
Because
I'll
if
figure
I'm
my
trapped
way
for
out
eternity
somewhere.
anyway, yeah, like I'll just be, chilling because
Yeah,
chilling out here is better than,
getting
trying to, you know,
fight
survive in
off.
there. And yeah,
Yeah,
Spectre immediately finds him and was like, I tried,
yep.
but it's what happens. And so he sees, I guess, the universe, which presents as a bright light, and he's like, oh, it's beautiful. And then when it starts to take him, he starts begging.
Yeah, facts.
Because and
Yeah,
I don't really know Constantine as a beggar.
yeah, never.
So that's how you know that this was true. Like, because for Constantine to accept any punishment and be prepared for that, but then for him to say to that, please kill me.
Yeah,
Like,
facts.
I don't want it.
Yeah,
He was prepared to be tortured by all the demons whose soul, or the demons who owned his soul. Like, he was prepared to deal with all that. But yeah, when
hmm
the universe said, bring that ass here, he said, no, please, I will do anything.
yeah, kill
It's too
me.
late.
Yeah.
Woe is
Uh,
you, John.
what was you? Yeah, that was a cool one. I did want to ask. We haven't seen those other two demons anywhere, right?
I
That I remember.
If we have, they were just randomly in there. I don't recall seeing them,
Okay. I didn't
but
either, but
there are
I
a
was
lot
like,
of demons who just kind of show up and shit, but they don't have names. Like I know
yeah,
Nergal's name. I don't know their names.
exactly. Okay, just making sure. I was like, I don't recognize those two. I was like, maybe I'm tripping, or maybe they're just the first time we're seeing them.
Because you remember the whole point in City of Demons was that Nergal wanted to have LA to himself, and there were a bunch of other demons that were trying. So
Yeah,
like we could have seen them
yeah, that's
because
true.
there were a bunch of nameless demons that. So I'm gonna say no, but also
Right.
I can't guarantee that.
Yeah, sure.
They were not a big bad, I'll say that.
Yeah, that was dope. I really like I forgot to mention the spell he put on them. Like if they think bad things or hateful things, it like binds even more. That was cool.
Yeah, because that's what you do to a demon.
Yeah, that was smart.
It's like, yeah, like all your negative thoughts make this worse. We'll kill you. And
Yeah. Yeah.
better start thinking happy thoughts, buddy.
Yeah. You know that's never gonna happen with them.
And that's they're demons. So yeah.
Hmm.
Brandon, scale of 1 to 10 for the House of Mystery.
Man, I would give it a mm, I'll give it a 7. Enjoyable. I give it a 7 mainly because I love Constantine and his universe. Um, but the length, obviously, the very contained story. I give it a 7.
Okay. Okay. I give it an 8, mainly because there were actual consequences. Like
Yeah,
Constantine is usually able to wiggle his way out and, make a deal and all that. There was none of that. Like he
yeah,
gone, as far as we know.
yeah. That's true
Like we will,
for that
see if anything
universe.
comes of him later, but like he was absorbed in like the universe punished him. And
Yeah,
that's again, there was fear in his eyes.
yeah, yep,
And that's not something we see from Constantine often.
right.
The next one we have is Commandy, the last boy on Earth. We open with Commandy saving his friend Tufton from giant mutant rat things. That's what they look like to me. I'm gonna call them giant mutant rat things. Um, After the chase, they are all captured, but luckily they find Ben Chase. Commandy then explains why he is the last boy on Earth. They are taken to the ape cult headquarters and given the rundown about the Mighty One. They are then made to go through trials, and they are joined by Zuma, who believes I am him. The first trial is traversing a large chasm. Tufton jumps it, breaks his ankle, and Commandy uses smart thinking to get everyone across. The next trial is walking down a hallway, but guns and acid smoke show up, and they are able to get through that trial and make their way to the final trial, fighting against a beast who's being controlled by a collar. Commandy is able to break the collar, and the beast likes him, so Commandy is hailed as the Mighty One. It is discovered that Superman was the OG Mighty One, and Commandy goes on a quest to find Superman.
Hmm.
Brandon, what do we think of this one?
Man, I'll be honest. When it started, I was like, bruh, what is this? Like, what is this? Like, why is this being highlighted? But the good thing about the showcase, it shows you some stories you weren't necessarily familiar with. Um,
Hmm.
I saw that it was an old comic book, kind of like the DC showcase showed, so it's legit canon. Um, at first, like I said, at first I was a little thrown off, but I did kind of like the like '90s X-Men Savage Land vibe that I got from it. I enjoyed that. I thought the animation was cool. Um, it worked for me, and just the whole storyline of like going through these different trials was cool. At first I thought the apes. I was like, is this gorilla grodd type situation? I was like, I don't really know where this is. Um, but when they explained it, I was like, that gotta be Superman. Like, but then when they said he left and he said he'd return or he died or he returned, whatever, I was like, I don't know. And then once they finally got it and I saw the suit, I was like, oh, that's dope. Um, so yeah, it's funny because the dudes lived in Command D, and his name is Commandy. I was just like, okay,
I mean, that's how he
uh,
got his name. Like that's
yeah. I mean, it makes sense, but it was just like, all right. But yeah, overall solid. Not terrible. Got to a place to where it was like, oh, okay, I see where we're connected here.
same. I think the first time I saw this, I was like, what the fuck is
Yeah,
this? What are we
right,
doing?
right.
But yeah, I was like, okay, I like it. I can get behind it.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess Commandy's the last human on Earth, and everybody else is
Yeah,
just something else.
right. A different being or whatever.
But yeah, he's got a friend who's, a tiger,
Hmm.
and he's been captured by some rat people. And I assume they're rats because they kind of look like Splinter from
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But
Hmm.
um, he's able to, bust his friend out, and then they start running away, and they find their other friend, Ben Chase.
Yeah.
So did you, other than, Superman, of course, did you know or recognize anyone in this at all?
I did not.
Or rather, were you familiar with anyone?
I wasn't. This is one. I feel like I knew there was a last human on Earth story in DC, but I didn't know names. I didn't really know any details whatsoever. I just kind of had heard around the way that there's a kind of a storyline for it, but I didn't recognize anybody in it
Okay.
or the
Okay.
place.
Okay. Um, yes, same. I was not very I had seen Commandy before, but
Mm,
kind of just like he just kind of existed as a background character that I knew existed. But that
yeah.
was it. Like I can't think of anything else I had seen him in. And when I heard the name Ben Chase, I thought that I had heard that name in Arrow before or in the
Mm,
Arrowverse,
okay.
but I may have been thinking of somebody else. Like Ben Chase may not have been the name, but that name sounded like a name I had heard in the Arrowverse.
Yeah, I agree. It did sound familiar.
But yeah, and then when I saw the ape people, I was like, "Oh, these are Grodd's people," and then they weren't. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I guess okay,
Yeah, threw
that's
me for
cool."
a loop. I was like, oh, we're getting a Grodd thing where he took over. Okay, cool. And then I was like, ah, okay, never mind.
Yep, never mind. Okay, that's okay.
Disregard. Yeah.
My bad. Um, like they don't all look alike, so okay.
It's facts. Yeah, that was racist. Is that racist? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, obviously you're Grodd's people. Nope.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. Yeah, Grodd owns you guys. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, my
Uh,
bad.
yeah, my fault. Y'all
But
free.
um, so they, find him and then they get captured by the ape cult. And oh, another reason that I thought of Arrowverse is because I guess Ben Chase's power was turning to metal, and in
Mm,
the Legends of Tomorrow, we
yeah,
have Steel who does
right.
that, but I'm pretty sure his name is not Ben Chase.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So maybe his name was the dude I'm thinking of. Maybe it was Adrian Chase. I think that he was a villain for one of the seasons, but
Oh, was he the lawyer?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right to me.
Yeah, I feel like Chase was in his name.
Yeah,
So maybe that's why he came to mind. But yeah, anyway, I didn't know any of these people. And so luckily they find their friend, and the ape cult is like, we are looking for the mighty one. And so y'all are gonna go through these trials.
hmm,
And when they were showing like little visions of him, I was like, that's looking like Superman.
yeah, same, same.
And the fact that he was there helping and all of that, I was like, yeah,
Right,
it's feeling like Superman.
putting
Like
stuff back
that's
together. Yeah,
what he would do.
yep,
And so Zuma then shows up and is like, I am him.
right.
Know that.
You don't even need to do this. I'm the guy.
Yeah. And so first they have to just leap over a chasm. And
Yeah,
Zuma's like, all right, next.
right.
And the tiger's like, don't worry, guys, I got it.
Yeah,
And immediately just snaps his shit.
bro, that
Like
was tough.
landed wrong,
Yeah,
fractured his ankle.
yeah.
And Commandy's like, no, my friend. And, he just, gets a
Pole
spear.
vaults.
Yeah,
Yeah,
straight over there with
yeah,
and that's what I liked about Commandy is like he saw his friend was hurt and just immediately was like, I'm on the way.
yeah. Right into action.
Like that was yeah, very quick
Did
response on
they?
that.
I don't know. I don't remember if this is after or before when they killed those other three. They just like Like, oh, y'all can't jump. All right, you gotta go.
Well, yeah, because they said
Yeah,
no, we jumping. That's what we're doing.
yeah,
And
right.
whenever they would just get like poked in the back, and then
Yeah,
yeah, they're just dead.
yeah. Just push them off the cliff like that. That's crazy.
Yep. So yeah, that's what happens. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I love DC's reuse of people, and the dude who voiced Commandy is the Joker in Gotham.
Okay. I've heard his voice in 1,000 different things. I feel like, but yeah,
Yeah, I think he just in stuff.
yeah,
But so yeah, some of the rat people died, and I think that's what they were there for. They were there to
yeah. It's fodder. Yeah,
yeah.
because they
And
used him for the gun later on too.
yes,
Or they
they
did.
did.
Yeah,
And so yeah, he jumps over, he gets everybody across, and Zuma was like, "That's cheating."
yeah, right,
And I was like, I have a feeling Zuma's not going to be worried about cheating later.
right, exactly.
And turns out he wasn't.
Mm-mm.
Because the second thing was, oh, all you have to do is walk down this hallway. And the rat people are like, oh, man.
Bro, that was. I was like, are y'all stupid? Like,
Yes. Yes, they
like,
were.
well, you think they just gonna let you walk to this thing? There's trials, oh boy.
Yeah.
What? I'd have been back there with the rest of them. Like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Same. I would have been like, yeah, let me know what happens
exactly.
when you get there.
Report back. Yeah,
And yeah, that's what happened.
there's some hot ones.
They ran it, yeah, and bullets was flying. And then that's when he was like, "Oh, yeah, by the way,
Yeah,
the
bro, that was funny.
yeah, the
Like,
mighty one is bulletproof,
yeah,
unbothered by the bullets."
yeah. I know 3 people have died, but by the way,
Yeah, let me tell
that
y'all
they shoot
now.
guns. Yeah,
And so that's when Ben was like, "I'll do it." And
yeah,
he turns into steel.
boom. Yeah,
And yeah, Zuma was hiding right behind him, and Commander was like, the fuck, Zuma? Thought you was big and bad a second ago."
yeah.
And Zuma's like, I Zuma saves his strength.
Right.
Oh, all
True.
right, cool.
Yeah,
And so then the acid comes, and it fucks him up
yeah,
because he's like, yeah. And he said like some acids are more corrosive on metal than skin.
yep.
So I will sacrifice myself to run over there because I'm the only one who can. Zuma's not going to, and Tufton got a bum leg. And again, but that's the thing. Like again, like Commandy, he springs into action. He
Yep.
believes in like he is following the Superman model.
Right.
And he had some comic books down, whenever he was being the last boy on Earth.
Yep.
And so he is able to turn off the gas and they're able to get through. And then for the final trial, they have to fight a grasshopper type
Yeah.
beast
Thing.
thing who's wearing a
Yeah.
collar and being controlled.
Got full
And Commandy,
dentures.
yeah, Commandy says to Zuma, yeah, those teeth were weird,
Yeah, odd to me. I was like, you couldn't do a better job with that. But
but they were probably supposed to look weird.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, Commandy's like, hey, we have to work together. And Zuma was like, Zuma has an idea,
Boom.
and
Yeah.
just threw him in there.
Yeeted that boy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, well, we knew Zuma wasn't shit, so what a
Right. Yeah.
surprise.
Right.
And then Zuma, while the grasshopper is distracted, tries to attack it, fails, and then that thing is about to eat Zuma,
Yep.
and Commandy saves him. He was like, "You would save Zuma even after Zuma betrayed you?" And Commandy was like, "Yeah, I value
Yeah.
life now." And then he got on there and he was like, "Oh, this thing is pissed because of the Zappy collar."
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just
Off that
remove the
off.
shock collar, and then yeah, that thing like licked him, and that was gross.
Yeah. That was odd.
But cool.
Yeah.
He said, "All right, you are the mighty one. Here is your prize."
Yeah.
And it's, a Superman uh, pajama set.
Yeah.
And Commander's like, I knew it. I knew it had to be my guy.
My gay.
And so Commandy's like, I'm going to go find him because I know
Hmm.
he's out there and he is going to help us through this. So yeah, I bid you all adieu because, my man's here. We all can't ride on him. So I will go into the wilderness and find him. And everybody else is like, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
You
Good
have
luck
no
though.
idea what evils await you, but
Right.
see you later.
Yeah. You're supportive, but also like, yeah, dang.
Yeah. And I mean, but if he is the mighty one, then he's the one who can do it.
That's true. It's true.
So, Brandon, scale of 1 to 10.
I give this like a 6.5. Again, I enjoyed the artwork. I enjoyed the animation. Um, it had a solid storyline, but it felt like being placed right after Constantine. It was kind of tough placement because it's like, why do I care? Because I'm low key looking for Constantine in this, just not necessarily knowing the full context of the showcase. So that I guess the 10 minutes I spent trying to figure out what is going on kind of affected it for me.
Okay, I can see that. The first time I watched it, same.
Yeah,
Like, I was under the impression that the showcases would connect eventually.
yeah,
They did not.
they did not.
And I found that out when we got to the fourth one. I was like, all right, these are unrelated. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, the movie ends. You're like, oh, these are unrelated. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, and yeah, we'll talk about it when we get there. But
Yeah,
I would agree 6.5 for this
yeah,
one. It was fine,
yeah,
but definitely not sensational, not spectacular, just kind of existed.
yeah, yeah.
For the next one, we have The Losers. We open at sea during World War II. We are introduced to the losers, and Johnny is knocked overboard. The losers end up on an unknown island, and they begin moving through the jungle, and they find themselves surrounded by dinosaurs. Turns out they are actually there to study whatever brought the dinosaurs here, being referred to as the anomaly. They get split up, but they are able to find each other, and unfortunately, Gunnar is dead. Henry lures a T-Rex away from the other losers, and Sarge locates a bunch of people who have been executed. Captain Storm is able to use a plane to kill that T-Rex, and ends up flying into the anomaly. Fan Long gets caught by Sarge and explains that her orders are to kill everyone involved with the anomaly so that her country can harness its power. Sarge, Henry, and Johnny take some bombs because they are going to destroy the anomaly. Brendan, what do we think of this one?
Man, you know me. Anytime it's political countries trying to weasel their way in and take advantage of a situation, you know what I mean? I mess with that. You know what I mean? So this one was right up my alley. Uh, I enjoyed this one. This one had action. It had a clear through line. You automatically didn't trust her. Um, there was some tension, but also they had to rely on each other to survive against these dinosaurs. And then the like discovery of the dead body. It was just a lot going on. It was a layered story for the short period of time it had. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay. Okay. I also enjoyed it. I will say I wish I remembered because there was a live action movie, The
There
Losers,
was, yeah.
and I vaguely remember that movie. I feel like I remember Idrissa was a double agent.
Hmm.
Like he ended up being like a bad guy or playing for the bad guys or whatever.
Gotcha.
But other than that, I do not remember that movie. And because I think I only saw it once and it was around when it came out. And I wish I could remember that movie to,
Yeah,
have at least a point of reference here because I've
yeah.
never read any The Losers comics.
Same.
But
I didn't even know the movie existed too before this.
yeah. And I feel like the movie wasn't bad. Like I feel like it was pretty good.
Mm,
But we're in World War II and they do, the little montage of introductions, which is often Like they usually do it with Suicide Squad, so I was like, oh, all these people are probably going to die, except for,
Right.
a couple of them. Because,
Right.
and I appreciate the introductions because, again, a lot of us don't know who the losers are, and
Yeah.
so
Sure.
I needed the reference. I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm glad to know who these people are now.
Right.
And so yeah, they're at sea fighting something. They don't even really know what's going on.
Yeah, that was weird. Whatever that was in the water.
Yeah, and they eventually find themselves on an island, and um, she she gives him mouth to mouth because, and
Mm.
then I guess they don't do that in the US yet. Like we haven't learned CPR.
Okay. I think
Um,
that sounds right because there was a big discussion about it.
yeah, and so they were like, I guess your medical technology isn't as advanced as you think it is,
Right.
and so whenever they get there, like all of them are questioning like what is going on? What are we doing here? All of that. And she's just not giving any info.
Yeah.
And eventually they start just making their way and then they're like, "Oh, these are dinosaurs."
Yeah.
It's not good.
Nope.
So, cool. Okay. That's not great. All
Yeah.
right. Um Great. Cool. Excellent. Wonderful. How did this happen? Was that a
Yeah.
dinosaur? Like what?
Right.
What? And it's like, okay, obviously there's something going on here. Like,
Right.
what is the deal? What are we doing here? Like they keep trying to really like, what are we doing here? And she's like, no, don't worry about it.
Right.
We're here to study some things. We all have orders, let's get it going.
Yeah.
And so she eventually is like, hey, yeah, like we're trying to study whatever brought these dinosaurs here because
Yeah.
they obviously shouldn't be here.
Right.
And the group gets split up. And while they're split up, that's when I believe it was Johnny who was with Fan Long,
Hmm.
and they're kind of talking through what's going on, and they eventually do meet back up with each other. Cool. Unfortunately, yeah, Gunner is quite dead.
Yeah.
Um,
T-Rex got him.
yeah, and the T-Rex is, coming for him. And so Henry's like, ain't nothing faster than me. I ran track.
You're right.
So, he's 1940s fast, which is fast enough.
Right.
And he lures the T-Rex away. And so they're like, oh, let's just use a plane to do it. So Johnny gets up in the plane and Johnny's like, yeah, I'm ready to die for this.
Yeah.
And Mayhem, who voices Captain Storm, he's Mayhem in the Allstate commercials, and he's in a bunch
Oh,
of stuff.
gotcha.
He was
Okay.
he was the number in John Wick 1. He was the number 2 to the main villain. He was the one who's like, "Can you speak English, please?"
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, he's been in SVU. Like, I like that guy. Um,
Okay.
Also, Fa Mulan was she's the one who voiced Fan Long, the
Yeah.
voice actress of Mulan.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah. And so I also like her whenever she's in anything. She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, he's getting in the plane, and Captain Storm is like, "Hey, let me do it."
Yeah.
Like it's clear that you are prepared to kamikaze this thing. I'll do it.
Yeah. Your team needs you.
Yeah, and he had lost his leg. A dinosaur had stole his leg.
That was tough.
Yeah, and so he was like, you know what? I'll do
Let's
this.
call it. Yeah.
Let me be useful
Yeah.
because I can't run. So let me do this. I can fly a plane.
Yeah.
So he is able to fly the plane into the dinosaur, which does kill it, but destroys one of the engines. And so, he's out of control and he just flies straight into the anomaly.
Yeah.
before that happens, Sarge is, looking around. He finds like a little supply area and he locates a bunch of people who have been executed and boxed.
Yep. Crazy.
And yeah, then he turns around and sees Fan Long with a gun. And she's like, don't be surprised.
Yeah.
Like,
You knew this. You know I
yeah,
was
you know
about
what
to
it
slay.
is. Yeah, like
Yeah.
this is the military. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And so whenever he flies into the anomaly, that, creates some earth shaking, and that
Hmm.
allows Sarge to wrestle Fanlong the gun away from her and, capture her and all that. And then,
Hmm.
she's brought before everybody else. And they're like, hey, what's all this? And Sarge is like, you want to tell him?
Right.
And she's like, yeah, my orders were to kill, including y'all, like to kill everybody involved
Everybody.
here.
No knowledge gets out.
Yeah, because my country is going to harness this and be unstoppable because whoever can control this will win the war. And you could see that in her eyes early. Like
Yeah.
early, she was like, whoever harnesses this power, because it's the old nuclear bomb y'all are building, a little cute, you know, nuke that y'all think y'all have. This is 100 times more powerful than that. And
Yep.
we are here to study its potential because whoever gets this, it's over.
Yeah.
And
Study and not
so
destroy it.
yeah, and so America is like, absolutely not.
Right.
We have to destroy this thing. And it can be destroyed.
Hmm.
So that's what we're gonna do. Vaughn, I don't know what you gonna do, but
Yeah.
we are going in here to destroy this thing. So the three of them are like, hey, this is what I signed up for.
Yep.
So if this is a
We're
one-way
the
trip, that's what it's
losers.
gonna be. And yeah, we're the losers. So yeah,
Yep.
they all three of them that were left were like, yeah, we know what we signed up for, so let's do this. So the three of them, they get some bombs and they walk into that anomaly,
Hmm.
and presumably destroy it from the inside.
Yep.
So
R.I.P.
yeah, and I don't know what happens to Fawn, but I know that she's still on an island of dinosaurs.
Exactly. He probably cooked
Yeah,
somewhere.
and you mentioned the
Yeah.
Savage Lands earlier. This is what made me think of the Savage Lands, like this episode.
Mm. Yeah, dinosaur. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, Brandon, scale of 1 to 10.
And I would give this. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. Um, I thought the story was good. I thought like I said, the political ramifications, because it's always cool when you see like a sci-fi related film, show, whatever, and these crazy things are going on. You got dinosaurs and an anomaly, but they bring it back down to like reality and fact that a country would, because that's true. Like if something crazy happens, a country's going to try to figure out what it is and if they can use it for their advantage.
Yep,
And
especially during a war.
exactly, especially during a pivotal war like World War II. So I really like that. That was very realistic to me. So as crazy as the ramifications were, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, they would not want anyone knowing about it either. You know what I mean? So they would, kill people they think are going to leak this stuff. So 7.5. I'm low key with like, should it be at 8? But we'll go 7.5.
Okay. I agree, 7.5, and that's mainly because it's a short. Like, honestly, um, these because they're short. Like, one of the issues with animation in general is they usually don't have enough minutes to cook like they can,
Yeah,
or like they would be able to with a longer runtime.
right.
And so, yeah, this is a situation where like if we could have spent more time with it, this could have been much higher.
Oh yeah, this could have been amazing. This would have made me a full one. Would have made me be like, I might need to read some loser comics or watch the live action movie, whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the only thing is with the showcases, like whenever you have, short bursts like this, they can't cook like they can't. They don't have the time
Yeah,
to cook. And
right.
so
But
um
I do appreciate the comic book accurate endings on these. Like it felt like a volume one of The Losers, rather than because it would end in a that like very specific way, and then because obviously people wonder like, okay, when it blows up, what happened? Like where is she at? Where you know what I mean? But you would get that in volume two, So
Yep.
I felt like all of these kind of ended in a very like comic, uh, you know, way that would naturally happen in the actual comic book.
And that's one thing that DC can do. DC can retell a comic book in
Oh,
uh
top tier.
animation. Like
Yeah,
we've reviewed a couple of movies on this podcast where panel for panel the
yeah,
animation hit it perfectly.
yeah.
And so all of these showcases open with them showing the actual comic book on which it's based on a shelf.
Hmm.
And so you can tell that they pull very directly from the comic sources.
Yep.
And so we have the fourth showcase, Blue Beetle. We open with the Blue Beetle theme song.
Hey.
The Squid Gang, I said Squid Game, Squid Gang climbs and breaks into a building to steal the colossal star diamond. Blue Beetle arrives to thwart their dastardly endeavors. Unfortunately, Blue Beetle is unable to stop them from stealing the diamond, and they escape. It is then that the question arrives. They find a clue, a bottle cap from a soda company that has been shut down. They go to a shop and they find someone who is still selling the drink, and they look through the video footage to see who purchased the drink. They see that a Squid Gang member purchased one and left a penny behind. They study that penny and discover that the stolen cord telescopic amplifier is involved. Turns out Dr. Spectro is behind this. He plans to use the diamond to control everyone using the telescopic amplifier. Blue Beetle and the Question show up to stop Dr. Spectro, but he uses Nightshade and Captain Atom to stop them from stopping him. The Question is able to get the Atom to untaint the soda that was used to control them, and they use that to break free from Dr. Spectro's control. Dr. Spectro activates his wave of sadness, but the Question is able to overcome the emotions with logic and destroy the amplifier. Dr. Spectro escapes, and the Question is furious about it. Brandon, what did we think? What did we think of this short?
And this was good stuff, man. I This reminded me of old Cartoon Network, you know, Tom and Jerry just went off, and now we got we got this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Super Friends,
Yeah,
like
Super Friends,
old school
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah, like this was
Yeah.
very spoofy.
Yeah. And I like that they stuck with it. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
like
they
that
leaned in.
they leaned in. Blue Beetle's already sort of not taken seriously in certain ways, but just and to bring in the question is so perfect. Like
Yes, I agree.
that is the perfect addition. That like without the question, this might be like a six or something. But with the question, it goes up in my mind. It's just man, just the investigative, the back and forth banter. It was hilarious. Like it was like so that's where your face should be and stuff like that. Like that was good. Like
Yeah,
referencing
like
the comic. Like it was just like what you know.
yeah, like
It was
it again. The whole leaning in. It knew what it was, and it was that on purpose. Like
on
I
purpose.
really enjoyed this
Yes,
because
same.
they opened with a theme song, and I was again. This is the one I was like, oh, these are not connected.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Same.
they're not bringing it back around town. We're not. No, we're
Yeah. We're
each
never
of
gonna
these
see.
are their own thing
Yeah, yeah.
because there's no way that this folds in.
Oh yeah, no way.
And
None.
there were mistakes in it, and that were hilarious. Like there was one point where like Blue Beetle's mouth like shifted to the side and then shifted back. Like they put in random bullshit, and it was
Right.
so good.
Yeah,
So yeah,
man.
you want to
Like
again, you want to talk about leaning in? They leaned in.
and I love the accuracy of the time period when the diamond went in the air and it was like, you know what I mean? The sound effect you use when something's thrown in the air, especially back then, they
Hmm.
use that, or like when somebody like ran away, that goofy sound, like you know
Yeah,
what I mean? It was just like, oh
like there
man,
was some like random Scooby Doo shit in there. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it was just yeah, it
I was
was
just
really
like,
good.
okay, somebody did their like. I love when somebody does their research well. Like, if you're gonna give me something from that period, do it the way it needs to be done, and they did that. I was like,
They
okay,
did it really well. Like
and they didn't, yeah, and
it
they
was
didn't
perfectly
overdo the
animated.
exactly. They didn't overdo it because they could have easily went, oh, we could do this better. It's 2024, but they went or whatever year this came out, but they were like, no, like subtle, simple is better. You know what I mean? That we don't need to make the Blue Beetle's vehicle cool. We need to make it accurate to the time because they could have easily made that cooler looking,
Yeah,
but they didn't. So that was funny, man.
yeah, it was so good. So, we opened with a theme song, which was just ridiculous. And they basically showed us the episode in the
Bro,
theme song.
I love that because they used to do that back in the day, and I used to be
That's
like, bro, why
exactly
are
what would
we?
happen.
Yeah, I'd be like, why? Like, damn near in Scooby Doo, they would almost show you who the villain was, other than
Hmm.
taking the hood off. They basically showed you the entire episode. I was like, why? But that was so accurate.
Yeah, it was so good. And so we see some random dudes in orange that are like using suction cups to climb a building.
It's so stupid, bro.
I was like,
Uh,
this is absurd. And then yeah,
yeah,
like they cut the glass open and they're like, we must find the diamond.
yeah, all have stupid voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, they find it, and then Blue Beetle shows up and is like, "You're not going anywhere, villains!" Like it,
Oh man, I'm
it
not here to
was.
put mints under the pillow. It's like, all right, bro. Like, what?
Oh God, it was so. And his the voice of Blue Beetle was Aquaman in the DC animated movie universe, so like Thrones of Atlantis and all that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Again, I love DC's reuse of folks.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
he did a great job voicing Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
And so, uh, and again, like you said, when the diamond goes up in the air and then he's just got his hands out, and then like different hands coming, yeah, like yoinking
Yeah.
from. It's so stupid, but it was so good
Oh man.
because that's the thing. Like you could see, because back then, they used to take a bunch of animation shortcuts, and
Yeah.
so there'd be a lot of like characters who were still, but they would
Yeah.
move
Mm-hmm.
laterally, I guess. And so yeah,
Right.
the way they animated it was very accurate to the time.
Yeah, it really was.
And
Yoink.
yeah, and so they escape, which is ridiculous.
Just jump out the window. Like,
Yeah,
all right,
and then the question shows up, and like you
bro.
said, perfect.
Perfect. Like his the way he like just talked to Blue Beetle was hilarious. They just talked to everybody.
Yeah, that's how he
But
talks to everyone.
yeah, like one of my favorite episodes in Justice League Unlimited was when he showed up. When he
Yep,
was, when he was talking to who was he dealing with? I forgot, but it was like a Hawkeye. It was like
it
I
was
mean,
Green Arrow.
no, it was Green Arrow, and
Supergirl?
it was
No, that was a different episode.
Black Canary.
Okay,
I think it was her. She was involved, but it was random. But it was like, yo, this dude is wild. This is weird, but I like him, and that's
exactly.
kind of what the question is. Or
He's
question
weird,
is
but I like him.
exactly. Yeah,
And
you
so
know,
he starts, looking around for clues, and he finds a bottle cap. And then,
yeah,
he goes into this company was shut down because of, toxic chemicals in their beverages. And
yeah,
Blue Beetle was like, how toxic?
right,
Like, am I going to be able
bro.
to have kids still? It's like, that is accurate to the time.
Yes, it
Like, that would
really
be the
is.
concern.
Yep.
And so, uh, they go to some shops to figure out where it is, and then we see that
Yeah,
the shop they go to is just run by some old hippie man.
yeah. So
And
deep.
yeah, like over the top.
Yeah,
And yeah, he's talking about how great it is, and then he's like, I see you got one of those camera doohickeys there.
Yeah,
We're gonna need to look at your footage." And he's basically like, no cops, man."
yeah,
And then the question is like, "You're gonna show us that footage?"
exactly. It's like, how are you gonna stop me from looking at that footage,
Yeah. And so yeah, they look at the footage and they see a random squid gang
bro?
purchasing a soda, just in
That
costume.
was that was so funny, bro. Because he rewinded it and stopped it on him. Blue Beetle's like, I don't understand. I don't see anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, bro, what do you? How stupid do you have to be? But yeah,
Yeah.
full costume, like dumb as hell, bro.
And so he's like, "Oh, he left a penny." And
Yeah,
so they just take the whole jar of pennies.
yeah,
And the question was like, "And this is his penny." And Tiff's like, how do you know that's his penny?"
right.
And yeah, like all of it was just bullshit.
Yeah, it was just dumb. It was like, well, this is the one that doesn't have fingerprints, and he was wearing gloves. It was just like, okay, did you pour all those out? What,
Yeah,
you
and
know
how
what
are and question, you're not wearing gloves right now. So
I mean? You
your
touched it.
fingerprints are on it
Yeah.
now. And also there's some ooze on it.
Random,
Like,
just popped up.
yeah, just it just started dripping green. And I was like, what? And so
Bro. Oh man.
he, figures out they study the ooze that was on it, and he was like, "Oh, this is a, highly expensive cleaning solution." And he was like, "And the reason I know that is because over at Cord Industries, we used it to clean. I mean, they used it to." And then
Yeah,
the
man.
question called him Ted Cord like four times.
Four times. You, Ted Cord, was it that?
Yeah, we're the inventor
Yeah.
of this thing, and so you, Ted Cord, probably
Yeah.
didn't know that this. Yeah, you
That
didn't know
was
that the
funny,
military would
bro.
misuse your invention, Ted Cord.
Yeah. Ted Cord.
He's like, not Ted Cord.
Yeah. I'm not Ted Cord. But yeah, you're right.
Oh,
Uh
so funny.
that whole interaction in the thing was hilarious to me, bro. Like
Agreed.
he's like, fine, I'm Ted Cord. Like,
Yep, whatever. You got me.
yeah. And it's so accurate because Ted Cord, like, Blue Beetle's not the most, especially that Blue Beetle. Yeah, he was the inventor and he just sold stuff. He wasn't the most like righteous dude. He just kind of, made a profit.
Yeah, Tony Starkish in that
Yeah,
regard.
exactly. Exactly.
Because sold stuff to the military.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, Dr. Spectra was behind it. So eventually we just see that the squids find Dr. Spectra, who's voiced by SpongeBob.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And so, he can control people's emotions, and so he plans on using the diamond and the telescopic amplifier to, just get everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So Blue Beetle and the question drop from the sky, and they say, "Hate to drop in on you."
Yeah.
And all right.
All right, bro. Right on the nose. All right.
And then Nightshade and Captain Atom show up, and he then breaks the fourth wall and like holds up a comic book that they're in or
Yeah, I was
something.
like, jeez.
And so yeah, it was just so funny. Um so they're fighting and
Yeah,
doing all this stuff. Now, I've seen Nightshade, but I am not super familiar with Nightshade.
me either. To be honest, that was my first time. I think I've seen her. I think.
I feel like I've seen her before. Because I think that I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I've seen her before, but
Mhm.
I don't have it on me right now.
Yeah,
But anyway, um, and then Captain Atom, but we all know who Captain Atom is,
yeah, exactly.
and so, um, I think that Captain Atom is one of the people who was, purchased from another. Like they were Captain Atom belonged to another comic book and then was acquired by DC.
Mm. Oh, okay.
And so I guess Nightshade was too.
Hmm.
But because yeah, that was very old Captain Adams look.
Yeah, well,
Because
that threw me off because he wasn't all the way. His face wasn't
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
or
he wasn't
whatever.
because the Captain Atom we know is like not naked, but like just all one
Mm,
color and
exactly.
yeah, all that. But so yeah, their fighting is just stupid.
Dumb. No
Like
sense.
it was a lot of hey yeah, like it
Yeah,
felt
like
like that.
looking one way, get hit from the back. Yeah.
Yeah, it was yeah. So um the question is able to hey, break out of it,
Right.
use your willpower or whatever. And so Captain Atom changes the chemical in the drink because they discover that the drink is how he's controlling them.
Yep.
And so he like changes the drink and then makes him drink the drink and then,
Antidote. Yeah. With the like sparkly, like your
yeah,
fixed stuff. I was like, oh man, it's so accurate.
it's so good.
Yeah.
And so then he just shakes one up and sprays it at Nightshade.
Bro, I was like, okay, we that, but that's accurate because
That's
nobody would have questioned it. But I was
how it
gonna like,
goes.
don't you have to intake that? Like, don't you need to?
Yep,
I mean,
you probably do. Doesn't matter.
yeah, I was just like, you spray it on their arm and they're fixed. I was like, okay, all right.
Correct. Yep. Oh,
Like,
again, so good. It's so
so
dumb,
good.
but I love it.
Yeah, like I'm not even that guy. Usually, you and Jordan catch all this stuff. I just be like, yeah, sure, whatever. This was just blatantly stupid.
And it was on purpose. Like they knew
Exactly.
what they were doing. Like it wasn't
Exactly.
a situation where they were like, "We're going to do this because it makes sense." They were like, "We're going to do this because it's dumb."
Exactly.
That's the reason. And oh, so good. And so right after they get cured, Dr. Spectro activates the thing, and then everybody's just sad.
The
Um,
rainbows.
yeah, there was definitely a lady crying and a baby sticking a fork in an outlet.
Absolutely, it was.
There were people just face down in the street crying. Like it was so dumb and hilarious. And so
Uh,
he's like, I am Dr. Spectro, and I have made you all sad. So
right.
you are going to do it. And then the question is like, sadness is just a hormonal imbalance.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Right. What he kept saying in a something reality, a observe was it observe reality or the I don't remember but he kept saying it throughout the episode, and he basically said that about like emotion and the sadness stuff. But yeah,
Yeah. And so
yeah,
he is defeated
yeah,
by logic,
hmm
and the amplifier is destroyed. And like, no, I would have gotten away with it too.
yeah. Like it was so like villain defeated, and now he announces everything that
Yeah,
yeah, oh, you've defeated me now. I can't. Da, da, da. I'm like, all
yeah.
right, bro.
And so yeah, and then he escapes through like some portal, and the question is pissed.
Hot.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
question is like he must face justice for his transgressions. And Blue Beetle's like, I thought emotions were not logical.
right. Why are you
And the
so hot?
yeah, the question is like, no, fuck that. He deserves punishment.
Oh man,
And then
bro,
yeah, it just ends with a theme
bro.
song and rolling credits.
Yeah, and then flying off in the distance.
Yeah.
I bro, if question was like a YouTube, just like if he ran a YouTube, bro, like he'd have millions of followers.
All the followers.
Yeah, bro, all of them. But
So
yeah,
Brandon, for this one, scale of 1 to 10.
I give it a this one, man. I gotta go 8, man. No less than an 8. That was a good time.
Okay. I give it a 9. I loved it and it
Yeah,
knew what it was. Like it was stupid on purpose. It was campy. Like it was the definition of campy,
yeah,
but it did it the right way.
yeah,
Like I think that it very successfully paid homage, but was a clear spoof.
yeah. Exactly.
And yeah, like everyone was cast well in it. Like yeah, it was ridiculous, and I had a great time with it.
Absolutely. It was a good time.
Like this was was it good? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely.
Yep, I agree.
So Alrighty. Well, again, showcases can be difficult, because, it's multiple short stories, and again, it's hard to get a lot done with, 20 minutes.
Hmm.
But, this will not be the only showcase that gets reviewed. So, yeah. Now, I explained this in the last episode, but for anyone who is confused about how we got here or where we're going. So the DC animated movie universe came to a conclusion with Apocalypse War. The reason we
Hmm.
reviewed this one is because House of Mystery comes directly behind Apocalypse War as far as events in the universe, but does not come behind it as far as released movies. And
Hmm.
so, as far as the timeline goes, because we are wrapping up the DC animated movie universe, I wanted to review the thing that in that universe happens next, which is House of Mystery, to see the aftermath of it, to see what happens to Constantine, because you can see he was heavily involved, and to see like that he had to pay for what he did.
Right.
And so, the next large universe is the Tomorrowverse, and we will be getting into those movies. But before we do that, there are the next 10 episodes will be older DC animated films. So, movies that were not included in the official list of DC animated movies, other showcases, movies that were made before they even started actually calling them DC animated movies. So I mean, if you're on this journey with me, I thank you for it. And I will, of course, keep you up to date on what movie we are reviewing next. But there's going to be, some hidden gems, some stuff you may not have even known happened because, again, they were not in the list. And we're going to go through them because we love
Sure.
DC animation around here.
Yes, sir.
And so,
Good
uh,
ones.
Brandon, anything else on this?
Oh man, I enjoyed it. It was definitely different than most of the DC movies I've watched, but like I said, that Blue Beetle one made it all worth it. Honestly, uh, I had a good time with that one.
Agreed. Oh, so much
Yeah,
fun. All right. In the next episode, we will be discussing Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. So until then, salutations.